found more secrets about your favorite Disney movies. But I'll warn you, after watching this, you'll never look at these movies the same again. Starting with, the live-action Lilo and Stitch may never live up to the original, but at least both movies feature Cobra Bubbles, the CIA agent turned Child Protective Services, who is seen throughout both the live-action and animated movies. But our friends over at Watch Mojo seem to think there's more than meets the eye when it comes to Mr. Bubbles. Let's watch.
Number 7, the CIA.
CIA.
Lilo and Stitch. Continuing the
He
Disney
looks like a
tradition
serious
of orphaned
guy.
protagonists are Lilo and Nani from Lilo and Stitch.
So cute.
Ving Rhames voices Cobra Bubbles, an ex-CIA agent turned social worker in Hawaii. The theory postulates that Cobra is not actually a social worker,
Really?
but that he has continued life in the CIA. It's likely that he made some sort of
Wholesome.
promise to the girls' parents before they died, and he used the facade of a social worker to get close to them.
Interesting. Wait, that is so wholesome. Is Mr. Bubbles actually just taking care of these girls, making sure they're okay? Who knew he was really the secret good guy of Hawaii? But it's too bad he couldn't help out our favorite island princess, who just so happens to be our very next secret. Did Moana die? Moana and the sequel are some of the best animated Disney movies of all time, with such a good soundtrack. But is it possible that we've been looking at this movie all wrong? Yet again, we turn to our friends at Watch Mojo for another crazy Disney conspiracy. Did Moana die?
A troubling storm at the start of this movie might have spelled out doom for
I know
our
I've seen it
protagonist.
before, but it's stressful.
A popular theory floats the possibility that Moana died during that one huge thunderstorm.
My gosh.
Despite dying, her spirit still embarks on the journey to find Te Fiti's heart.
Oh.
We have to find Maui. We have to restore the heart.
When she successfully does this, Te Fiti rewards Moana by resurrecting her. The possibility of her
Interesting.
kicking the bucket early on is definitely a bit grim for a kid's movie.
Definitely.
Well, in the sequel film, she does meet her end, though it happens in the final climax.
Moana.
That's so emotional.
Disney finally leaned into a conspiracy theory.
What if they did? I love that she's surrounded by her family. Do you think the ending of Moana 2 was written with this conspiracy in mind? Let me know what you think in the comments. Either way, it's far from the darkest ending we've seen in the jungles of Disney, which is why our next secret comes from The Jungle Book. The dark alternate ending to The Jungle Book. Well, Lilo and Stitch may have not had the best live-action remake, but I won't lie, The Jungle Book had a pretty good one. But one of the reasons it was so good is that they didn't take the story too far. But our friends over at The Things Animated let us know that that wasn't always the case.
The Jungle Book almost continued
Such a good
on after
movie.
the ending we know and love, and things would have gotten pretty sad.
How so?
In an early version, Mowgli reunited with his mother, but then a time
Aw.
jump showed that Mowgli no longer got along with his animal family. Then he would end up
No.
hunting down Shere Khan with a
No!
rifle. We're thankful the creators left Mowgli's future up to our imaginations.
Me too! I love animals too much to have seen that. I am so glad they chose to end the story where they did. Can you imagine an adult Mowgli hunting his friends instead of trying to save them? That would break my heart. Of course, it's not nearly as tragic as what happened to Bambi. But is it possible that that too could have been prevented? Well, according to our next secret, it might have been. The rescuers missed Bambi's mother. Now, you may not remember the Disney movie, The Rescuers. It's one of Disney's older animated classics that featured 2 mice and an albatross, who fly around the world to save a kidnapped orphan girl named Penny. But in doing so, they may have missed somebody who is in much greater need of rescuing. Check out this scene where Penny is overlooking the night sky from her captivity. She's crying and it's emotional. If you haven't seen this movie, it is a classic. I suggest it personally. Now what's she gonna see? And looking out at the night sky, who's gonna be there? And 3, 2, 1. That is Bambi and her mother. If you don't believe me, here's a clip from Bambi. Literally, this is Bambi. They're in the same pose, same area. What did I tell you? Tell me they don't look exactly the same. But even though movies like Bambi are full of hunters hunting animals, the animals are the one who get the last laugh in the long run. And my next secret proves it. The Zootopia Apocalypse. Zootopia certainly seems like a nice, pleasant city, but it's actually the remnants of a long-lost, forgotten world. That's at least what our friends at Watch Mojo have to say.
Zootopia.
I could see that like
Ever
over
wonder
here in
why
the
this
desert.
world is only run by animals? Don't get us wrong. The idea of a society populated by fully functioning sentient animals is
It's
really
cool.
cool. However, that's bound to make you wonder if humans
Yeah,
have
what
ever
happened to the
existed in this
humans?
universe. Animals developed consciousness and eventually formed the world we see in the movie.
Hi.
OM goodness. They
Animals
really
are
did
so
hire
smart.
a bunny.
What?
It's possible that humans were never meant to exist in this movie's world. But
True.
if you want to imagine they did, this theory offers a unique way
I
of
can
doing
see
so.
it. I mean, it kind of makes sense. There's a lot of Disney movies with animal people in them. Maybe they all take place in the future. It's also far from the only Disney movie that could take place in a secret apocalypse. Which is, of course, the subject of our very next secret. The secret behind WALL-E's signature look. WALL-E has to be the most iconic robot in all of Disney. Well, at least it was before they bought Star Wars. But did you know that the creator of his original design came up with the idea at a baseball game? And our friends at New Rockstars have all the details.
Thinking about the design of WALL-E when he was handed
He's
a pair
so
of binoculars
adorable.
to watch the game since they
They-
were way back in the States.
Literally, they're
He instantly
binoculars.
noticed how much inherent character these binoculars had and spent the whole inning
Expressive.
turning them upwards and downwards to convey happiness and sadness. And the sheer expressiveness that simple motion conveyed made Stanton realize that
That's so
same
brilliant.
design could be used for WALL-E's eyes to display how he was feeling. To get a
It's
sense
so
of
brilliant. I don't think I'm ever gonna look at binoculars the same after this. Just like you won't be able to look at the citizens of Axiom, the spaceship that WALL-E crashes on with Eve, the same again. Did WALL-E save cannibals? I know, it's crazy. Hear me out. Ever wonder what's in the milkshakes that everybody's drinking on Axiom? I mean, they couldn't grow food. That's the entire plot of the movie. Well, unfortunately for us, our friends at Watch Mojo may have figured it out.
When it comes down to it, WALL-E is arguably one of Pixar's most important films. It's a story about two robots falling in love and trying to get Earth back on track along the way.
Just kind of important.
But what if this warm and fuzzy movie wasn't as wholesome as we thought?
I feel
One
like it
theory
is
suggests
wholesome.
that the passengers aboard the Axiom are fed an extremely unconventional diet. So
Those
what are they eating?
are large
Potentially human
milkshakes.
corpses.
Time for lunch.
How would we figure that out? What? No way.
We never actually see what's in the slop the humans are slurping down.
The slop.
Plus, we never learn how the ship deals with passengers who have passed on. Is it all that crazy to think that the dearly departed have been converted into a food supply?
What?
We'll let you decide.
No, that is gross.
You kids are gonna grow all kinds of plants.
Wait, they're planting things. There's no way. Right? Maybe it's just like a kale smoothie? It's really gross, but honestly, it's the only explanation that makes sense. But the truth would have been a bit easier to digest if they'd gone with the original plan for the passengers of the Axiom, which takes us to the next secret on our list. Are the passengers on the Axiom aliens? So what if I told you that the citizens of the Axiom weren't always meant to be humans? Our friends over at New Rockstars have the scoop on this one.
passengers, they were actually not originally meant to be humans at
Wait,
all.
they look
Sketch
cuter
artist
like
Noah
this.
Klochek revealed that in the beginning the film was far more whimsical, with a floating palace in a bubble instead of
Gelatins?
the Axiom ship, and the residents being aliens known as gelatins or gels that looked
I
like
kinda
little
like
jello
that.
blobs. There was a king and queen with their court, and originally when they landed
Look
on
at
Earth, there
him.
was a landing party where they came out with Eve in tow. When it didn't read well, they decided to make them
didn't
human,
read
but
well?
not to the point they are in the movie. Eggleston relays that they had a muscular dystrophy expert from NASA visit and talk about the
Wow.
effect that spending too much time in space would have on one's body. According to him,
That
your
would be
skin would
probably
become
bad for
sallow
us.
and translucent. Your extremities
Ah.
would start shrinking, as well as your load-bearing bones, such as your ankles, and eventually your muscles would separate and you'd revert into
It's
a
like Pillsbury
gelatinous form.
Doughboy.
And now we both can't unknow that.
I know, I'll
But
never forget
this is what they
this.
based the next version of the gels on, which you can see in some of the deleted scenes. These gels would speak in kind of a really lazy, unclear version of
Huh.
English, but it just wasn't relatable, and the captain character was
Kinda
reading
looks like
as
Patrick.
dumb instead of just needing to wake up. So to inject more of a humanity into the characters, they eventually landed on their big baby kind of concept.
They are kind of like big babies. So if the designs for the people were actually based on aliens, then that means that everybody on board the ship on the Axiom was part alien, right? That would certainly be quite the discovery for our favorite junkyard robot. But there's also plenty to discover in the WALL-E truck too, which leads us to our next secret. Every secret in WALL-E's truck. In previous videos, we've mentioned how you can find Rex in WALL-E's truck. But our friends over at New Rockstars have pointed out that there is much, much more in this truck than we previously thought. Let's take a look and see what they have to say.
There are several real-world references, like Big Mouth Billy Bass and the Atari 2600 on which he plays Pong, along with a Twinkie-esque snack cake that Hal
That's
the
definitely a
Cockroach sleeps
Twinkie.
in. Joke being that both Twinkies and cockroaches can last forever.
Live forever,
But some
yep.
Pixar references you can spot are a Dynaco lighter and Mike
Oh!
Wazowski, Rex, and Ham Toy.
What? Those were very sneaky. I never got those details the first time. It's like Wally's truck is a museum of all the things long past. But speaking of things long past, is Carl actually dead? Just like Moana in the earlier secret, is it possible that the beloved Carl from the movie Up is actually dead the entire movie? Once again, our friends at Watch Mojo seem to think so.
As if Up couldn't get any sadder.
It's so
this theory
sad.
posits that Carl Fredricksen was actually dead for most of the movie.
Why?
According to its proponents, the elderly Carl passed away from a combination of grief and shock after learning that he needed to vacate his home.
His
Tell
broken
your
heart.
boss he can have our house. Really? When I'm dead.
Yeah,
Russell
don't take it
is
from
the
him.
guardian angel sent to transition a
Oh.
reluctant Carl to the afterlife.
Well,
And
that's
it took
kinda
the form of a
sweet.
young boy to honor Carl and Ellie's lost child.
Oh,
One is missing. It's my assisting the elderly badge.
how sweet.
If I get it, I will become a senior wilderness explorer.
You've got
Carl's
this.
house represents his tether to the real world.
It's going to heaven.
Paradise Falls is his own personal heaven.
It's going up
Russell
into the
subsequently
sky.
gets his wings, or in this case his merit badges, and Carl accepts death when his house
heart.
lands in Paradise Falls.
I just got the chills. This is definitely another one of those metaphorical conspiracies. I'm not sure if I'm fully sold on this one. Like, obviously he's not dead in the movie, but is there something we're not seeing? Something we missed? Like the grape bottle cap. And if you don't know what I mean, well, lucky for you, because that's what we're spilling in our next secret. The sad secret of the grape bottle cap. There's one moment in Toy Story 4 that most people overlooked, and it connects Andy's best friend to Carl and Russell from the movie Up.
As Bo and Woody catch up, the sheep bring Bo a bottle cap, which he immediately rejects.
How long have you been out
That's
on your
hurtful.
7
Why reject
fantastic
it?
years.
7?
You would not believe the things I've seen. No.
If you were paying close attention,
She
you might have
immediately
noticed that the cap is
rejected
from
it.
a grape soda bottle. It looks exactly like the
It was
one
on
young
his
Ellie gives to
shirt.
Carl when they first meet in
That's
Up,
so true, it's the
and
same
which Carl
one.
later bestows on his new friend Russell.
My heart.
Highest honor
Why
I
would they
can
deny that?
bestow.
Why did I just get chills again? I feel like Up is just like so sad and wholesome at the same time. Am I gonna cry? So why was the grape soda cap that we saw in Toy Story the Ellie badge from Up? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. But that certainly isn't the only secret from Toy Story. The secret evil Woody that never was. Apparently in the early versions of Toy Story, Woody was much more of a jerk, which our friends over at The Things Animated explain.
You had a bad guy as a main character too. Yep, Woody was supposed to
I
be
can't
evil.
picture that.
In fact, we can hear Woody's actual voice, aka Tom Hanks, being just downright mean.
When?
Up here and do your job.
Oh,
Are you deaf?
Luckily, the
That's not
execs
very
decided
nice.
that the jerk version of Woody and his
Yeah.
verbal abuse of Slinky wasn't the best route to go with this story.
I mean,
Hence,
cowboys
the
are
real
friendly,
Woody was
right?
born, and one of the most beloved animated features of all time came to be.
I just can't imagine an evil Woody. I don't know about you, but I'm certainly glad that they went with the nice version of Woody. And I'm glad they kept the evil version a secret, just like his age, which is the next secret on our list to uncover. How old is Woody? One of the questions the movie Toy Story never answers is how old Woody is. Once again, our friends over at The Things Animated may have found the answer.
But it's a bit more complicated than that
I imagine
because,
it's complicated.
well, he's a toy. In 1995, Andy turned 6 years old.
Oh, we
Woody
gotta
is
do
referred
math
to as
here.
an old family toy and a hand-me-down cowboy doll. The
hand-me-down,
Toys TV
okay.
show Woody's Roundup was on from 1949 to
Whoa.
1957.
That's a long
so
time
if
ago.
he was originally purchased at that time, he's around 40 years old in Toy Story and around
The first
51
one?
in Toy Story 3.
Oh.
Still, Woody was, in theory, already an adult at birth. So, is he frozen in time at 40?
Yeah.
Physically, maybe, but can you
go with
be
that.
emotionally frozen in time at a certain age?
I will say that's definitely a lot older than I thought. Would that make him older than Andy's mom? Probably. The secret behind Andy's mom. So, Toy Story 2 introduces us to Jessie, basically the boy version of Woody. But what's really interesting is what's been noticed about her backstory and what it could say about Andy's mom. Let's take a look.
One of the most popular theories in the entire Disney canon
so happy.
regards a new character introduced in Toy Story 2, and maybe an old character as well.
Oh, and
In the
Sleepy.
movie's saddest sequence, Jessie talks about
Oh,
her
that
old
song.
owner, Emily.
It gets
While
to
the two
me.
remained close throughout Emily's childhood, Emily eventually outgrew Jessie and gave her up.
How could you give her up?
Andy, let's go. Molly's already
I thought that this was
She'd
confirmed,
be the
actually.
right age, and we never learn her first name. Not only that,
Yeah?
but Andy can be seen sporting a Jessie-style hat in the first movie.
True.
Could this be a hand-me-down accessory that was once owned by his mother?
Definitely.
An accessory she received alongside her cowgirl Jessie doll?
Wait, guys, am I crazy? I actually thought that this was confirmed true. Why, at least to my brain, I always just assumed Jessie was Andy's mom's toy. And that would explain Andy's iconic red cowboy hat. Guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I won't lie though, I would have pegged his mom as more of a Barbie fan, or even a Miss Bo Peep, which takes us to our next secret. Woody and Bo Peep almost broke up. The most iconic power couple in all of Andy's room almost ended tragically. And the Things Animated has the scoop.
Number 5. This film reunited Woody and his love Bo Peep, but it actually
so
almost
cute.
ended with a breakup between the toy couple. Needless to say,
did
we're
feel like it
relieved
might
we didn't have
happen.
to see that. They put us through enough tears with Toy Story 3.
I definitely sensed that they almost broke up, but I'm so glad they didn't. You can't just abandon a relationship like that. And speaking of abandoned toys, did Andy leave Buzz at the dentist? You certainly wouldn't think that Andy would leave his favorite toy at the dentist, especially all the way in Australia. But take another look at this scene from Finding Nemo. And pause. Who do you see right there on the floor? It's obvious. That's definitely Buzz, right? But it is really hard to tell if it's Andy's or not, because it is too blurry to see the name on the boot. But it's possible that this Buzz in this dentist office doesn't even exist at all. And neither does Nemo, according to our next secret. Is Nemo actually a ghost? Did Nemo secretly perish alongside his mother and his siblings at the beginning of the movie? If so, then every time he actually appears in the movie after that, he's a ghost, right? Watch Mojo certainly seems to think so.
Nemo is dead. Finding Nemo.
I hope this
At the
isn't
start
true.
of this movie, Nemo's father traumatically witnesses his wife and children get murdered by a gigantic barracuda.
She freezes.
No, Cory, don't. They'll be fine. Just get inside you right now.
She's
His
paused.
whole family is wiped out except for young Nemo. But
I just
what
got
if
chills
Nemo
again.
died too? Maybe in his immense anguish, Marlin's mind tricked him. Maybe it made him think Nemo was still alive when he actually wasn't.
No,
I
he's
promise
got
I'll
him.
never let anything happen to you.
Right.
Nemo.
Why do I have chills
That
again?
means that the entire plot of the movie is basically just happening in his head as he tries to
No.
grapple with his trauma. This drastically changes the entire concept of what Finding Nemo is.
Definitely.
It's no longer an adventure to rescue his son, but a journey through the stages of grief.
I'm gonna tell myself I refuse to believe that one. I can't emotionally deal with it. Is anyone actually alive in any of these movies? Not according to Watch Mojo, at least. But Nemo isn't the only Disney fish who was saved from an unhappy ending. The tragic secret ending of Finding Dory. According to our friends over at The Things Animated, the original ending to the movie Finding Dory was actually much sadder than what we got. Let's take a look.
Finding Dory nearly ended with some more lost friends. Some of
That would be
Dory's
too
friends
many
were going to
losses.
be left behind. With the release of Blackfish, though, the
No.
creators felt that folks had enough of sad whale stories.
Agreed.
So they gave the characters a happy ending.
As they should. We deserve a happy Disney ending, right? I'm certainly glad that they went with the happy ending. Or else Riley would never have gotten to see her at the aquarium, which is a secret from one of our other Disney secret videos, which you should totally check out. And speaking of Riley, she may secretly be a gamer. Or at least that's what our next secret suggests. Is Riley a secret Spyro fan? Does Riley know Spyro? You know, the famous purple dragon? This brings back so many memories. Like, I remember commercials for this thing all the time growing up. This seems a bit before Riley's time, but this scene from Inside Out proves otherwise. Pause. That's clearly Spyro, right? You see him right here? It took me a second. It's very hidden. Our friends over at Watch Mojo have this one covered.
As joy, sadness, and Bing Bong catch the train out of Riley's imagination land, you can see a painting of a purple dragon in
He's,
the
like,
corner of the
grown
screen.
up in that photo.
This is Figment, a
Ah.
character who was originally created for Epcot's
Why is he
Journey into
scary?
Imagination dark ride.
Right?
Meet Figment.
Ah.
Epcot had a mascot.
I don't know. I found that character to look a little scarier than I realized. Well, it's a good thing that Bing Bong didn't have to have Spyro as competition for Riley's favorite pink monster. And our next secret may prove what actual monster Bing Bong really is. Bing Bong's dark secret. So we all love Bing Bong, but it turns out he could actually be a monster. But it may not be as bad as it sounds. I'll let this video explain this one.
Inside Out really knows how to get the tears flowing.
Yes,
like
it
having
does.
imaginary friend
No.
Bing Bong fade from Riley's memory in the memory dump. It breaks our hearts
Poor buddy.
just talking about it.
Wait, no, I'm gonna cry. I
The
can't.
famous Pixar universe theory posits that every Pixar film takes place within the same universe.
Definitely,
and that
I believe
applies
that.
here. According to this surprisingly tantalizing theory, Bing Bong was a monster from Monsters Incorporated who used to make Riley laugh.
Wait,
I went to all of your concerts.
that's so
Lord, me
cute.
knows.
I definitely want to believe that one. Monsters, Inc. is such a good movie. That actually makes a lot of sense. It's also fun to see the happy ending from Monsters, Inc. get reused into a Pixar story. But our next secret suggests the ending may not have been so happy for Boo. In fact, she could be the key to everything. Boo is a time-traveling witch. That's right, this theory suggests that Boo is actually a time-traveling witch stuck in the past. And she could be the very reason that all of these secrets, Easter eggs, and cameos are sprinkled across the Pixar universe. Take a look.
The aforementioned Pixar shared universe strikes again with a particularly loopy theory. It states that Boo was permanently scarred by her experiences in Monsters, Inc.
Oh, that's
and
sad.
developed a fascination with the door's mechanics.
Nothing's coming out of your closet to scare you anymore.
By utilizing its power, she created magic
yeah.
doors that can hop between times.
Because
and
Sully or
dimensions.
Mike is
She keeps
here.
a carving of Sully in her hut.
Yeah.
And she inadvertently created Mordu while attempting to replicate her old monster friend.
Mordu.
In fact, Boo is the instigator of
She
the
traveled to
entire shared
Scotland?
universe theory, as the numerous Pixar Easter eggs are actually objects left behind by a dimension-hopping Boo.
So are they saying that witch is Boo? If this is true, it's pretty sad that Boo never got the chance to find Sully. Hopefully one day we'll get the truth behind what really happened to her. But the dark truth behind this Disney princess's origin is our final secret, the dark origins of Cinderella. Cinderella's iconic story of fairy godmothers and glass slippers seems like a lighthearted story, but the real story behind it is actually much darker. As our friends over at Easily Explain will easily explain.
Disney's Cinderella is one of the studio's most iconic fairy tales.
It definitely is iconic.
Glass slippers, talking mice,
So
a
cute.
fairy godmother,
So
and a
sweet.
happily ever after. But
What
the
could go
Cinderella
wrong?
story is ancient. There are thousands of versions told across cultures,
Thousands?
from ancient Greece to
Wow.
China, and from Vietnam
Didn't know that.
to Egypt. Disney's Cinderella is based on the 1697 French version by Charles Perrault,
1697?
and they stick pretty closely to the script. Again,
It's
good
so
job,
old.
Disney. But Perrault's version is the softened one. The real fun comes from the brothers
It says, this version is too soft. You even pardoned the stepsisters.
Grimm. There is no fairy godmother here.
No.
Cinderella's mother dies, and on her
Yikes.
deathbed, she tells Cinderella to remain kind and pious.
Oh,
Cinderella
well, that's
plants
sweet.
a tree
She
on her
definitely
mother's
does.
grave and prays beneath it. White doves answers her wishes, dropping down
Fairy
dresses
godmother.
of silver and gold.
How sad.
When the king announces a 3-day ball, the stepsisters mock her.
that happens
She's
in the
allowed
movie.
to go only if she can sort lentils from ashes, not
That's so
once,
specific.
but twice. She succeeds with help from the birds.
Aww.
At the ball, she dazzles the prince. By
Looking
the third
cute
night,
girl.
the prince is desperate to stop her from disappearing again, so he coats the palace stairs with
And
tar.
tar. I've heard about
When
this.
Cinderella flees, her golden
That's why she
slipper
lost
gets
her
stuck
shoe.
in the pitch. When the hopelessly face-blind prince comes to find the girl who fits the slipper, the stepmother has a
I've heard
plan.
about this. They like
She
cut their
makes
foot.
one
It's-
stepsister cut
It's
off
okay.
her toes.
This isn't real.
The other slices off her heel.
It's
The
disturbing,
prince
but
is
it's not a
fooled
real story.
twice,
How is he
until
fooled?
the birds reveal the blood both times.
Yeah, thank you,
When
birds.
Cinderella finally tries the slipper, it fits. She's recognized as the mystery princess. But the stepsisters aren't done.
Oh.
At the wedding,
Their eyes
they
are
shamelessly try to worm their way into Cinderella's favor, now that she's going to
No,
be queen.
we can't trust them.
The white birds returns and peck out one eye each
That's
as a
disturbing.
warning, a final chance to walk away. They don't take it, so the birds come back and peck out their remaining eye.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that is quite dark. I'm really happy with the ending we ended up with, because that was really dark. That's all the secrets I found in this video. Let me know in the comments if there's anything I missed, and click one of the next videos before they disappear. Bye!